Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of Rongan's podcast. I'm Dinesh Hagi, joined by Amara and then Punk. How are you?
Hello, how are you?
Hey, yeah, good. Thanks. Wondering if the emotions of day five, the fifth test, day three, have sunk in. Because I'll be honest, the last 24 hours to almost 48 hours now, one of the things I didn't want to do is look at any socials. Because the amount of grief that's going to give me in terms of reading some of the comments and stuff, I intentionally stayed off reading any of the social media as much as possible. But yeah, that's my state as things stand. What do you guys
Are
think?
you asking about the result or are you asking about the way India lost?
It's both, right? Obviously,
Uh,
the way they lost is more painful, but then obviously, conceding a defeat in the fourth and the fifth test, that kind of summed up, our struggles in the entire series. But maybe before getting into the details, very high level, let's kind of look at day five, and then we'll probably spend a few minutes kind of reviewing the entire series. So day five, right? Obviously, we discussed on the day three. In fact, it didn't even last till day five. Uh, uh, Apologies on that, but yeah, day three. So day two, we sort of when we reviewed it, we know we're 6 wickets down. We're only up 140 runs. We needed another 50, 60 at least to kind of put up a good total and then obviously fight back. Unfortunately, that didn't really turn out to the way we anticipated. Like obviously, Cummins and Scott Belland were relentless. From the word go, they managed to get Jadu for very cheap, and then obviously there was some fight put in by Washington Center that didn't really yield much. And then Bumrah and Prasidh Krishna obviously didn't really bother the scorecard. But yeah, in terms of India's second innings, all they managed to post is 157 with a target of 162 for Australia. And then there was a big job for the Indian bowlers. So maybe let's start with India batting approach on that morning. Obviously, Panka, I'm gonna look to you because I know you mentioned a lot about the pitch and how India should avoid the defense and probably just take to the cleaners, bit like what Pant did. But unfortunately, Jadu or Washi couldn't really deliver that.
Yeah, so you also need that skill set, right, and a clear mindset that
Mhm.
which Jadeja he tried like in the first ball if you see anything, but the challenge is like the Australians, right? They did not give you any loose deliveries. They were on the stumps or right about the line and length, so it's difficult to hit across or try to cut them as well. Um, so kudos to the three fast bowlers they had, like, and the way they didn't give any chance for India to uh, you know get those fast runs. So there was no opportunity, and Sundar also struggled in terms of the balls, which like you can't blame Sundar here. The best of the
Mhm.
batsmen apart from Pant, everybody struggled on that pitch, right? And the way the Australian bowlers bowled, right, they were relentless. So there was no opportunity at all. So it was just Pant innings which actually got us to the 165 odd runs, or we
Mhm.
would have been all out under 100. So yeah, it is what it is, right? Unlucky that Bumrah was out, or we. I had a strong feeling we would have won this match. Uh,
Sure.
so that is something we can discuss. Bumrah's thing, if he was there, it was the most spiciest pitch uh, in the entire series, and and like for Sydney, as I told you, the records tell it, right? No, it hasn't happened for last 70 years. They have given the spiciest pitch, and our best, the most lethal strike bowler in the history of world cricket gets
Mhm.
injured. So and you see the commentaries, and then you see Khwaja even talking about that they were
Mhm.
lucky that Burma was not there. They wouldn't have won. They were like they knew about it. He had 5 wickets. He would have taken like 5 wickets on that pitch.
No, absolutely right. So obviously, before kind of looking at in the India's bowling, maybe a quick word on Scott Boland. Amar obviously, he kept mentioning about not a better bad second choice, and he certainly have delivered 6 for 45 and 16.5 overs, his best figures at Sydney, man of the match, and obviously overall he managed to pick 21 wickets in the six innings that he managed to play, or 8 innings he managed to play. But yeah, at an average of 13 something, he was probably the second best behind Bumrah, maybe a quick word on Scott Boland.
Yeah, amazing, isn't he? I mean, um, the team calls upon you, and then you deliver. The best thing
Mhm.
about Scott Boland was he didn't try to do too much. He um, bowled according to the conditions, and he knew that you know he just needed to pitch in the right areas, and the rest the pitch will do the job, which sounds simple, but
Mhm.
it's not that easy or simple. You need to be very accurate. His line and length were spot on. He kept it wicket to wicket, and he relied on batsmen making mistakes, because on this pitch, that's what you needed to do. You just put it in the right areas, and then pitch will do a little bit, and then batsmen will make a mistake. So yeah, very consistent bowler. uh, did what was needed to be done, and of course he also went according to the plan. So very often you see a bowler coming in, and then the captain has a plan. He sets the field, and then the bowler doesn't put the ball in the intended areas. But
Mhm.
Scott Boland, very accurate. Didn't try extra things. He was really on the spot, really. So yeah, Australia will be looking to play him in their pitches more often than not now.
Absolutely, and just on the numbers, right? So you played 3 matches, 6 innings, 610 balls, managed to pick 21 wickets. His best 6 for 45, obviously at Sydney, with an average of 13.19, and economy better than Bumrah 2.72. So that's kind of
Yeah,
summed up his accuracy as well. And
e-
yeah.
exactly. And with his action as well, and he gets that slight bounce of the pitch, of the
Mhm.
good length, which beats the bat, and also catches nicks. So a very uh, on the face, he doesn't look that dangerous, but then
Mhm.
takes wickets up front as well, because he bowls wicket to wicket up front. So he doesn't try too much, or he doesn't go wide, or doesn't go give warm up balls as well. So yeah, yeah, very simple technique, but effective.
Absolutely right. So quickly, kind of shifting focus in terms of Australia's chase, right? Punk, you made that point, right? It's not the easiest wicket to bat on. 160 runs at one point kind of looked a reasonable target for a fourth innings batting, but unfortunately, the best bowler of the series and for India, Bumrah, was ruled out because of the back spasms or side strain, whatever you call it. That put a lot of onus on obviously someone like Siraj, and then Prasidh Krishna playing his first test in Australia, only his third test, and he's making a comeback himself. They did do well in the first innings when Bumrah wasn't around, but then the second innings, which was a smaller target, there was a lot of expectation from them. But unfortunately, as we all know, 3 overs,
It is
38 runs to start with. Yeah, your
That's a
thoughts?
record actually for Australia. That's the
Mhm.
highest run scored in the first 3 or 4 overs. Pathetic bowling. Okay, with Prasad, you can say that he did come back, but
Mhm.
Siraj, like something which I've been telling, he should have been dropped way, like after the second or third test.
Mhm.
And he is the second. He's played like 36 test matches as of now. If you minus the 5 test matches, the 31. That's like in anybody who has played 25 test matches, you improve. You look at Sami when he started,
Mhm.
and he grew better and better, right? And I'll give some stats with Bumrah as well, which we're going to talk about how,
Sure.
like, Bumrah has gone better and better. You
Mhm.
look at one of our bowlers, I'm forgetting, Umesh Yadav,
Yes.
right? Ishan Sharma, right? All of these guys, if not for the wickets, then they were able to control. They had more control of the ball. Siraj is just the opposite. His control of the ball. He's lost his swing. His outswing is
Mhm.
nowhere. And for the left-handers, he never comes across the wicket. He just goes on with the same. And that's why Khwaja was like quite comfortable. You see how
Mhm.
Bumrah got Khwaja out every time he was on the wicket, getting those wickets.
Yeah.
You see Akashdeep, or then even you see Prashid. They were coming across the wicket and getting the left-handers bowled. Siraj never does that, and that does not work with that swing. And if you see more, it was like he could have just come across the wicket, and by it would have made a play, because the ball would be coming in and then moving away, like an outswing for the left-hander. So there was, and on that pitch, he just had to just release the ball at the right line and length. I see. I don't know what's the fantasy going on with the Indian management. We don't have good backup bowlers. I'll just give a quick stat on actually the three bowlers. Scott Bullen is just like he's just done hardly he's played many matches, right? But if you see at the three critical bowlers, which the fast bowlers they have, Australia, and where we have, right? So we have like Stark, for example, right? He has 376 wicket at 28. The next best is 279. You have Hazelwood, and then you have 292. Hazelwood 279 for 25 strike rate, like average, right? And then you have 292 with
Cummins
at 22, right? And the Indian team faced these three, and you look at India's Bumrah. He was the only one. Because of him, he did not get the 5-0. Or it would have been a 5-0. We are very close to actually, drawing this series. The Melbourne one, that's something which just 10 overs easily India would have. It was more of a batting collapse. And this one, it was more luck on the Australian side because of Bumrah getting injured. Or on that pitch, I don't see Australia getting those 160 runs. If Bumrah would have opened that bowling, there would have been much more line and length. There would have been better control. The first over, you wouldn't have got 38 runs. Like 38 runs is like 30% of the entire 160 score. So you just need the remaining 60 odd percent to so you are more or less done, because just to get 38 runs, you just imagine how many wickets we lost on that pitch. So Bumrah was the difference in the entire series, right? And with Prasidh, okay, you can't ask much, but if you see, at least that person, after giving the 13 odd runs in the second over, he did come back. He took those wickets, and you see his line and length, he got much more control. But Prasidh will struggle because he won't have line and length control, because his action does not, he does not look at the ball after pitching. So something has to be, maybe, I don't know, the coaches, the bowling coaches have to look at it. He will struggle with, he will get like out of the 5 or 6 balls, he'll get like 3 or 4 balls right on the line and length. But each over, he will give you 1 or 2 deliveries which will go, which won't be on line and length. So that is something which I don't know, the Indian team has to see. If they want to have good bowlers like an Ishant Sharma, or who can play 100 test matches, they need to look at line and length. It's not about picking wickets, but at least line and length, because then your captain can set the field accordingly. So it's not always about taking wickets. It's also about like controlling and putting the pressure on the batsman. So they take that, step. See Pant, for example, right? He got out at 60 because of the persistent line and length which the Scott Boland and you had Cummins and you had Stark going on bowling, right? If say he was batting against Indian bowlers, you would have got like let up bowlers like Prasidh or Siraj, who would have been bowling the 6 balls at the perfect line and length. So it would have been easier for him to score a century. But this is where you're struggling with your backup bowlers. Shant was very good when it came in. He might not have taken that many wickets, but when it came, Shami is very good with his line and length as well. So something which the Indian team, and that really showed up on that when the pitch is the spiciest pitch, right? I don't know what else you need. And Siraj getting 1 wicket on that, and that is the 36th match, right? So something needs to be looked into. I'm worried about what India will do in the test match when we come here in England, right? Something he'll get thrashed.
Yeah, he is right. Obviously, really quickly, bringing focus back. Obviously, you made a good point, right? When you kind of start off with 38 for no loss in 3 overs, that's pretty much like 30% of the score considered already. But then there's some mini collapse, right? Amar, with obviously Constance playing the fakest shot, That yielded a wicket for Prasidh Krishna, followed by Labuschagne and Steve Smith. Maybe a small passage where there was literally some hope for Indian bowlers again. Maybe a quick word.
No, yeah, no, but I'll be little bit more critical about India's bowling and approach, because
Mhm.
I don't think the approach was right from the start, and I don't believe that Prasidh Krishna came back in this match at all, to be honest.
Sure. Mhm.
Right from the start, the line and length which they should have bowled was not right. With Sam
Mhm.
Constas, maybe they thought, we will not bowl predictable lengths,
Mhm.
and they kind of spread around. But I don't think, but that's being very very kind to them. I mean, when you're starting, when you know that your premier bowler, your captain is not playing, all you can do is at least maintain the line and length, attack the right areas. And
Mhm.
when we looked at this pitch, it was a pitch which was helping the bowlers, which was, which created a lot of doubts in the batsman's mind when India was batting, and there were quite a lot of deviation as well. When Indian bowlers were bowling, we didn't see that much deviation. One can say that, okay, all of a sudden the conditions changed, but that didn't happen because India didn't put them in the right areas to get help from the pitch at all. And I, I don't know, it the guidance that was not given, um, or is that the bowlers who were bowling did not realize that? Either ways, I'm really really surprised that at this level this can happen. This kind of misjudgment can happen. They had to do was bowl in a small box, and just put your ball consistently there, right outside the off stump, at a good length or slightly short of the good length. Like Pankaj mentioned, Siraj was a big disappointment. He got one wicket, but he should have done more. Really, he's a senior bowler. He should have done more. He has lost. There's no swing in his bowling, and he was more showing his aggression than his skills in the bowling. Prasidh Krishna, I am really really disappointed, because he should have bowled line and length, and because of
Mhm.
his height, the pitch should have, would have automatically helped him. But maybe call it nerves, but nerves. I mean, this is the time when the series came to the last session, and or last innings, and that was the decider. And of course, we're saying that when if Bumrah would have played, then we would have kind of even won the match.
Mhm.
But he was not playing, and all we needed to do was put the ball in the right area. He bowled short quite
Mhm.
early on, and later on when he came back, he bowled over pitch balls as well. So he totally missed the good length balls. The two wickets which he got, one was of Sam Constas, and
Mhm.
of and uh,
Labuschagne.
Labuschagne, Manas Labuschagne. Both were the mistake of the batsman.
Yeah.
Sam went for a wild swing,
Mhm.
and that he aired the ball, and Labuschagne, it was a short ball, short and a little bit wide of the off stump, and he guided
Mhm.
to the to
The Gully
um,
region, right?
yeah to Jaiswal.
Yes, sir.
So I mean, according to me, they were not Prasidh Krishna's wicket. To be honest, they were mistakes made by the batsman. Yes, of course, Stephen Smith. The ball was wide, and it came back a bit back to him. And
Mhm.
with the bounce, that was a. I will give that wicket to him, but it was not Prasidh Krishna's wicket. So I would, all in all, I will really, say that India's approach was not good, and these two bowlers should have done more. Um, in terms of captaincy, I would say there were a lot of singles, easy singles
Mhm.
available to they were able to rotate strike easily. India should have put more attacking fielding, and make
Mhm.
it a little bit difficult for them to make runs and rotate strike, and that's how the pressure is created. Of course, the number, they had to get a very, very less number of runs. So this is the only way you can do it. Otherwise, if you want to go and protect the boundaries, people, batsmen will realize that, and they will retrace the strike, and there would be no pressure created at all. So that should have been done. Um, Another thing I would like to mention here is, um, there's lot a lot more than what meets the eye here. Now, this pitch, if you think about it, this was a green pitch given, in this test match. And
Mhm.
I'm also thinking now that, um, you know, throughout the series, Bumrah has bowled a lot.
Mhm.
And coming into this test match, he would have, we already had seen that he was kind of getting tired.
Yeah.
And so early on, even if Sydney, pitch is known to be slow and a little bit of help to the spinners, looking at
Mhm.
the pitch and looking at Bumrah's condition as well, one could argue that maybe they could have decided to go with one additional seamer as well,
Mhm.
with Bumrah's so much of additional work or workload previous to this test.
Mhm.
And that also solidifies this thought. Also is helped by, of course, this is hindsight, but you can see that, um, all in all, India bowl only 4 overs of spin, one of
Mhm.
um, uh,
Sundar.
three of Jaddu and one of Sundar, really.
Yeah.
um, so that is also a surprising thing for me. Now, this is also a function of India's top order not performing well, because they wanted to go with another all-rounder who can bat,
Mhm.
who can take care of their shortcomings in the batting lineup.
Mhm.
So this is all in all a very badly managed. First of all, Bumrah's workload. Secondly, they
Mhm.
didn't realize that this pitch will not help spinners, or they will not be needed as much. Thirdly, the fielding settings could have been better. And
Mhm.
fourth, the bowling. I don't think that Australia should have won this easily. The runs they got, they should have been made to work hard to get these runs, which they absolutely did not do. Very bad performance
And like,
from India.
and the thing is, like, dropping Akashdeep, I don't know whether he was injured or whatever the reason is. He would have
Mhm.
been a handful on this pitch.
Yes, I agree to
So,
that.
the thing is the way they have selected. So the pink ball, Akash would have
Mhm.
been a much better bowler than Rana.
Rana. Yeah.
And on this pitch, Siraj should have been dropped. And I was telling in the very beginning, right? It should have
Mhm.
been Akash and Prasid as well. So they would have done much better if Akash was there and if Bumrah was injured. He was a workhorse as well, right? So he could have done the 7-8 overs, and you would have definitely seen wickets. He's got something like a Shami.
Mhm.
Yes.
So his action is there, and believe me, he will be like, he needs to get more chances. I think that one of the most unluckiest bowler in this tournament has been Akash.
Yeah.
No,
uh,
absolutely.
and it's not about taking those wickets. I don't know what
Mhm.
the management was looking at. And Akash
Mhm.
performed really well in India as well,
Mhm.
right? And then outdo him, and then we've Prashid, which is his third test match,
Yeah.
was wrong on the Indian team management. So somebody who's done well, who, Akash never went more than, like, 3.5 runs.
Mhm.
He was consistently there. The returns of wickets was not there, but and then you have Siraj not doing that well, and then giving an opportunity. So something has gone wrong.
Mhm.
It's like, this. I don't know what the team management thinks, and how they're going to manage this. So we have the main critical one coming. The five-test match, and the way Bumrah is, I don't see Bumrah playing five test matches here in England,
England. Yeah.
because he'll have the same stress, and you might have more overs bowling, right? So they'll have to, and the way I can see this going forward is you need to have four good fast test bowlers in England,
Mhm.
right, and one good spinner,
Yeah. No, I
and
agree.
that's how
Right.
this, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And Reddy could be your sixth option, but I don't see. You need to have really good fourth. Maybe a runner could be a fourth bowler, and you
Mhm.
have three really good bowlers who are actually bowling. So runner can bat a bit as well. Something what Thakur did for us. Uh, India's strategy, the way they went. was completely wrong from the very beginning. They went for
Mhm.
a lot of all rounders. You don't need three all rounders in the team, especially with two spinning all rounders.
Yeah.
Uh, in Australia, it doesn't work. So
Yeah, that summed up like test five, right? Obviously, Amar, the point you made, like they picked Washington Sundar maybe with the belief that they need an extra batter who can bowl as well. But obviously, when it came to his bowling, first innings he hasn't even bowled. Second innings he just bowled one over. So maybe that's where they could have picked like a fast seamer and then hope like the batting sort of came to the party because unfortunately Washington Sundar really didn't add much to the scoreboard either in both innings. Yeah, he did manage to grind a little, but not to the extent where he scored enough runs. And also looking at the bowlers, right? And a good point you made, like something I've realized on the while watching live as well. There's way too many easy singles. Like someone like Kawaja, who's really struggling in this entire series at an average of 14, was able to like pick singles, rotate strike at will, and managed to score 41 of 45 deliveries. And then Travis Head, who had a terrible three innings back to back, the two in Melbourne and the first innings in Sydney, where he was getting out in the first 3 to 4 deliveries. Again, no pressure. He's able to pick singles at well,
Yeah, he
score
didn't need
38.
to. He didn't need to swing his bat really. So
Absolutely, yeah,
why would he? Because there were no close-in fielders. He just tapped the ball and he would run. That's what he did. And
yeah,
about the point also about the why they didn't go for another seamer.
mhm,
I would give this blame a little bit to Bumrah as well. He was the captain. He should have asked for it, and he knows his condition better than anyone.
yeah.
Of course, he has been made to bowl so many overs previously, so now
Mhm.
he has got a chance to say that, guys, I've
Or
worked so hard,
mhm,
and let's there's a chance to, because the pitch is green, so green, why
mhm,
don't we take another fast bowler, because I don't think this spinners will be used much.
I
yeah,
think so. They
agree.
read the pitch wrong. That's my view.
Possible, yeah, but by the when
Because
they went to
Sydney,
toss, they already know
because
there's so
the
much
thing
grass on the
is,
pitch.
if you look at the weather,
Mhm.
right, and generally what happens is like, because it's like 40 degrees and all that, it will crack.
Mhm.
So what I feel is most probably they felt like, it's just the first hour,
Yeah.
Mm,
and when the sun shines, then it will. But there was something which is completely different. They didn't realize that Sydney could be so spicy. They
Mhm.
left a lot of grass. So
Yeah.
if you look at, like, previous, you will see slight greenish track. Most
Mhm.
of in England also they do that, because
mhm,
Yeah.
when it's really hot, and
Mhm.
Australia is really really hot. So
Yeah.
I have a feeling that they read the track wrong, and
Sure.
Sydney generally have two spinners, and for historical reason as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
India has always played with two spinners. If you remember Harbhajan and Kumble or 2008 series, they played, and the famous one, Michael Clark taking that 3 wickets. India couldn't just save those 2 or 3 runs in 2008
Yeah.
series. So that there's a historical
yeah.
reason behind as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, I
And
have a
also,
feeling
I
that
mean,
they read the pitch wrong.
they batted the toss happened after they picked the team, so I mean,
Mhm.
definitely they read the pitch wrong, and hence the lineup as well. Dinesh, do you think Nitish Reddy could
Absolutely.
have done more?
Yeah, a lot more. Obviously, he seemed to have struggled with the bat in the Sydney series, test somehow after that terrific century in Melbourne. I don't know if it's because of the pressure around the other players and him, trying to save or maybe grind it out a little bit, and also with the ball as well. Obviously the first innings when Bumrah was out on the particular day, he did chip in with a couple of wickets, which was critical. Kind of supported likes of Prashik Krishna and Siraj, but come second innings again, I think it's down to the captaincy as well. I'm surprised when there's so much wayward length. Maybe he could have been introduced a little early and probably put some pressure, but that hasn't happened either.
Just like to give a perspective
Mhm.
as well, right? It's not like, if you look at the four bowlers they have,
Mhm.
at least the three fast bowlers like who have played, and the one who's who's injured as well. So
Mhm.
with that pace, and with that, averages and strike rate and all that,
Mhm.
India still was this close to actually leveling the Border Gavaskar trophy. It
Yeah.
was just Bumrah. If he
Mhm.
was there, definitely it would have been a 2-2.
It would have been,
It was
Absolutely,
this
but
yes.
close. It
when
was
you say
this close.
this close, when you're saying
It
this
was
close,
this close
it
because
also,
Bumrah. It was just Bumrah.
no,
If you put
yeah,
Bumrah, it would have been 5-0.
also it was this close because of the pitch as well. Because they could have,
Yeah,
if they had bowled really, really well to
Yeah.
the right areas,
Mhm.
it would have been even closer than what it was without even Bumrah as well. We would have still
yeah,
lost, but
yeah. Not
yeah,
that,
Yeah.
it would have
not
been,
that easily. Yes,
yeah,
you would have got like 8 wickets down or something, or 7, 8
yeah,
wickets.
exactly.
Siraj should have taken another
Absolutely.
3 or 4. Siraj should
That
have taken
could,
3 to 4 wickets on that pitch,
yeah, and that could have
based
opened the
on the
game, right? But
skills he has, right?
irrespective,
So,
yeah, it's what it is,
yeah,
right?
but
So
what I'm trying to say is, like, it's not very. I'm just saying that there's one guy, Bumrah.
mhm.
If we take him out, it was a
Yeah.
5-0. And if you remember when we predicted on all this, right, I told that if Bumrah plays all the 5 tests, then definitely we are going to win.
Yeah.
Irrespective of this, even if it was drawn, then we are going to win the BGT series, right? So Bumrah,
I
if
mean,
you take out Bumrah, it was a 5-0 score. That's what I
no,
see. Like
absolutely right.
Melbourne was a draw one,
That's
but
a common
that also
sentiment
India would have
across.
lost
Yeah,
if
the
Bumrah was not
the
there.
third one, the
Melbourne
Gapa,
won. So,
yes, yeah,
yeah,
that was a common sentiment across, right? But yeah, irrespective, right? Just
yeah.
overall, I think we kudos to Punk for his prediction. The only change is he predicted India 3-1, but it turned out to be Australia 3-1. Irrespective, you
Let's
got
say
the
he
numbers
predicted
right.
3-1.
Yeah, let's keep it cool.
I predicted 3-1 with Bumrah
3-1.
playing all 5. So
Yeah, but yeah, kudos to
it would have been with
obviously.
2-2 maybe, so we are that close to that. So
Yeah, no, absolutely right. So yeah, 3-1. Obviously, now Australia done exceptionally well. They managed to win the World Gavaskar Trophy after 12 years. But really, maybe a couple of
you
highlights,
know
right? From an India
I just
standpoint.
wanted to give some stats with Bumrah as well, right? Just to let everybody know, like, how many overs he has bowled from 2023. Like, so, like, and some stats about his post-injury and pre-injury, how good he has been. And there's something which the great Glenn McGrath talked about his action. So I'll just, like, we need to talk about Bumrah a bit more. He was a difference in this series. What the respect India has earned is just because of Bumrah and no one else.
Yeah.
So just quick thing. So from 2023, right, Siraj has bowled like 671 overs across formats. And the next is Bumrah with 560 overs. And the third is Shami with 247. So you can imagine the gap in terms of the next bowlers we have in this test series. We had all debutants technically, bowling. So having a 3-1 line at that with Stark, and I've talked about all the Stark and Nathan
Yeah.
and everyone. India did comparatively much better. Bumrah, okay. Now this is very interesting. Okay, he has become he's become more dangerous after coming back from a stress fracture injury. Like, so let's go through quickly with what's happened with Bumrah. So
Yeah.
he pre-injury, right? I'll go across the formats if that's fine, across
Yeah,
the
no,
formats,
absolutely.
not
Yeah.
only like Test
We
cricket.
also wanted, like,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
Yeah.
I think with Bumrah, we can do an entire podcast itself.
Just
he
But,
Bumrah,
like,
right? How accessible is it? But very high level, absolutely go for
amazing.
it, Punk. Yeah.
yeah. So quick one, like with Test cricket, we'll just start with Test cricket.
Sure.
Was just got
Yeah.
over. So pre-injury, he
Yeah.
had like 30 matches. He got 128 wickets at an average of 21.99. Right. Economy doesn't matter. It's 2.69. And then post-injury, right after he comes back from a stretch, he 11 matches, 53 wickets at 15.39.
Wow, that's some
And
average.
and now just want to tell you, like, and like again across ODI, like 72 wickets, 72 matches, 121, average was 24.3. Now 17 matches, 28 wickets, and average is 20.28. Now look at World Cup, and we won the World Cup because of him. Everybody knows that. 60 matches before injury, he got 70 wickets, 20.22. Okay, economy was 6.62. Post injury, he's played 10 matches, wickets 19, average is 8.57.
Wow.
And
Yeah. No,
economy is
he was definitely the
4.3.
difference at the
Okay.
the T20 World Cup,
Now,
and obviously.
something which wanted to, like, tell like what Magrat told about Bumrah's this thing. So when he went, like, with his injury, right? So Magra was there, and he told him, like, you have to change your action, right? Because he used to have like more of like a bouncy action, like what Zahir Khan used to have. We've seen Zahir bouncing on the pitch, right? Bumrah now slides through, right? to do that, and change your entire action, right? And that's why he's become
Mhm.
more lethal. He's got more control, and that's why
Yeah.
the injury concerns are slightly lesser compared to what when he came in. So just to let you know
Mhm.
what McGraw was talking about, and how
Yeah.
Bumrah has changed his action. A few things which Damon Fleming has told about, like, in his last 45 years of what Damon Fleming has played. He's ranked Bumrah as the number one test bowler ever visited stores of, and then I'll just give what,
Australia.
he's got Malcolm Marshall, he's got Curtly Ambrose, and then he's got Richard Headley, all below Bumrah, right? And even
Yeah.
Ponting has talked about, like, he hasn't seen anybody better than Bumrah on that, and and Fleming was talking about, like,
No,
even with
absolutely. Like, there's a lot
body
of like,
runs against him.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, like, you're talking about Australian players, the respect Bumrah has earned, right? And the
Mhm.
Indian team has earned because of that one person, right? Or this was like,
Yeah.
and the interest which Bumrah has generated across Australia just to see him bowling, and crazy, man. So just hats off to the legend, man. And, like, we are very lucky, as
Mhm.
when we were in the 90s, all of us, right? I
Yeah.
never imagined that, I will be talking about an Indian
Pankaj,
fast bowler.
I think
It brings tears
there's
to
a
our
lot
eyes,
a
Mhm.
lot to talk about Bumrah as well, and
Yes.
because of his legend, I think we should dedicate an episode to him, and let's
Yeah.
talk about him in that one.
Yeah, no,
Yes,
absolutely
we
right.
should.
We'll definitely do like separate session just on the Bumrah himself. But yeah, really quickly, just closing our comments, right? Credit to Australia. Obviously, like I pointed out, like, they managed to retain the BGT trophy, and obviously, they managed to also qualify for the WTC final. So kudos to Cummins and the team.
Just one more thing, one
Yes.
funny thing as well. Yeah. So
Mhm.
Bumrah's got a better batting average than Kohli. Oh, let me tell you that as well. So, okay. So Kohli is like got five, I'm talking about, like, first innings. Yeah. So
Yes.
his
Mhm.
average is 35 runs across, some 11 innings or something. And he's got
Mhm.
like average of 7. And Bumrah's got 70 runs. And his average is 10. So he's a batting great as well. What he
Absolutely.
does.
I think he's probably the new Kapil Dev of
Just a
Indian
funny side.
cricket. Yeah. He can be the new Kapil Dev.
All right.
But yeah, before closing out, right, maybe a couple more minutes, right? Obviously, maybe a quick word, and well, we spoke about Bumrah and we sort of agreed, like, we need a special episode on him. Maybe, also a quick word on Jaiswal. His first tour of Australia. He's done exceptionally well. He's the second highest run getter in the series. Kudos to him. And he's also got a lot of positive feedback from a lot of Australian players as well. When he tweeted about his series and how much he learned, there's a lot of acknowledgement that came from the Australian players as well. They were happy to see him in the Australia pictures, like how well he adjusted to the bounce and everything. So yeah, maybe quick word on Jaiswal before we wrap up. Amar.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it? And Pankaj rightly predicted that he would
Amar,
be the
can't
highest
hear
scorer
you.
for. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean, Pankaj rightly predicted Jaiswal to be the highest scorer from Indian side as well, and
Mhm.
he started really well as well, and to be honest, in every match he made runs, and
Mhm.
maybe in one innings he didn't, but the other came back and then made runs, and also he played the conditions really well as well. Wherever the pitches were difficult, he where stood tall, and then he put his bat straight and attacked wherever it was needed. So
Mhm.
I think with the opening stand, he's in the right spot. He's the dedicated opener, and we have seen that he has done justice to it, I would say.
Yeah.
The another thing was, he started with KL Rahul. Then after that, he had to start with Rohit Sharma as well, and then again KL Rahul. So I mean, he throughout the series he has batted with two different batsmen, and but that doesn't seem to have affected him.
Mhm.
So a, a long-term prospect for India, and he's like Pankaj mentioned as well, that he would be the guy to watch, and he would be the guy who would score, and rightly so that he has done that. So
Mhm.
yeah, amazing, yeah, amazing talent, and also that his medal has been recognized by the Australians as well. So yeah, yeah, very good long prospect for India.
No, absolutely. Yep. Maybe on that note, we can close out the BGT series. Like we mentioned, right? Obviously, a lot of highs and lows for both sides, but yeah, kudos to Australia. Came out on top. But thank you for your time. We'll probably do a couple of sessions around obviously Bumrah and his brilliance, and we kind of start looking at upcoming series as well. But really, before closing out, a couple of updates on the other two test matches that are going on. Obviously, South Africa, Pakistan. South Africa managed to beat Pakistan by 10 wickets. So they posted a massive total of 615 in the first innings, and then Pakistan, were balled out for 194 in the first innings, followed on, scored 478 with a target of 61, and then South Africa managed to chase that. So they were voluntarily in the WTC final alongside Australia, we already know. And then the second test between Afghanistan and Zimbabwe as well. Zimbabwe bundled out for 157. Then obviously, in fact, Afghanistan bundled out for 157. Zimbabwe scored 243. Afghanistan made a strong comeback in the second innings for 363. But unfortunately, now with the brilliance of Rashid Khan, who managed to pick his best wickets in the test match, helped Afghanistan win the series 1-0. But yeah, that's pretty much what we have going around on the other test matches. Thank you for your time again. Really appreciate the last several weeks around BGT, and we look forward to more upcoming series, primarily starting with maybe the England tour of India for the ODI series.
Thank you.
Cheers,
Thank
guys.
you, guys.
Have a good night. Bye.